Hey Advanced Research and Writing students, welcome back for another week of online digital learning. So on our home page, we've got a couple of things to take a look at. First of all, Ms. Klein has posted the announcement for Virtual Classroom Behavior Agreement Form, so please take a look at that. Also on our school's website, you'll notice that there's a bus ridership survey form that you'll need to complete on the Concord High School website if you haven't done that. And if you're having any troubles, of course, with your Chromebooks, we've been having exchanges and things like that, so just keep an eye out for that information as it comes up. So on our homepage, there's actually just a couple of things to do. First of all, you're watching this week's introduction video. It'll be right here once I get it finished because you're watching it right now. And then you'll have the optional discussion post, so any kind of questions that you have, you can put them there. You guys have been doing that for the past several weeks, and that's been awesome. Also, keep me updated in terms of what you're doing. Right now, I personally am watching all of the Harry Potter movies. We tried with my twins, who are 8, watching the first 1 and 2, and it was just too scary for them. So I have actually enjoyed them. So I just finished up the Goblet of Fire yesterday. So don't send me emails and tell me what it's about. So don't spoil that for me. So for the assignment for this week, what I'd like for you guys to do right here is the extended essay practice for stage 2. And that's going to be on research methodology and developing a research question. Please notice the due date. It's Friday, May 1st at 3:00 p.m. Honestly, this is a little shorter, I think, than last week's, and it may not take you as long. The first thing I'd like for you to do is to watch these 2 videos. They're about 10 to 15 minutes apiece on quantitative and qualitative research and methods and methodology. And so those 2 videos should help you understand kind of approaches to research. That's how methodology is. I think that's a big overwhelming word, methodology. It's just how do you approach your research? And so what I'd like for you to do after that is to answer these questions, A through F, right here, to explain your research methodology. What sources are you going to use? What types are you going to use? And why did you use those? A lot of us aren't answering that. The question that I'm really asking is, why are you picking these beyond any others? What did they lend to your research? Are you looking for statistics? Are you looking for personal information? Are you looking for biographies? D says, what are 2 types of sources that you did not use? So let's say that you have some statistics that you find that you think may be pretty good, but when you actually investigate them, they don't actually apply to your research. Well, I mean, you could do that. You might also not have to use personal accounts. Maybe you can't use personal accounts. And so some of that information can be found in the subject guides if you need to. And so that would also answer letter E. And then F, what makes your methods more valuable to your research? So you have to have an approach to research. You don't just jump into that, and we'll talk about that in just a second. So when we get to the research question development, for number 3, we've actually done this before, and I'm sorry to ask you to do this again. I don't have the content with me to send to you guys. We did that on paper. I wish I would have done it digitally now, but we had a folder that we were working on. But this was the research development where you're studying blank because you want to find out blank in order to understand either how, why, or whether blank. And I have an example right here. I'll move my big head out of the way. And so the example would be, I'm studying public funding for the arts because I want to find out how accessible the arts are to the working poor, so I can determine whether tax dollars support cultural enrichment for all citizens regarding of their socioeconomic status. Now that's not a research question. That's a statement. That's what you're wanting to research. So with that, what I want you to consider next for number 4, wow, that was way too far. For number 4 is your limiting factor. This is basically your approach. You're trying to narrow that field of research. And so you can more sharply focus on your question and your topic. So what I want you to do is to highlight the factor you may want to use, and you can highlight more than 1, but I don't want you to do more than 3 because that might make it a little too difficult to actually form a question. So for example, let's say you want to research authors. So you would highlight this, and after you would highlight that, whatever color you want to highlight is fine. Then you would actually answer that question, which is number 2. Which author, scientist, or artist do you want to investigate? So that's what you would actually answer underneath that question, and you can leave that highlighted for us to see too. And once you've decided on those, and there's a lot to do here, you can even add your own limiting factor. If you don't think, now these are coming directly from the extended essay booklet, from IB, but if you don't think that there's something in there that you wanted to do and there's something else you wanted to add, do that on choice W right here to add your own limiting factor. Then after you've looked at what you want to study and how you want to approach it, think of a question starter. So choose by highlighting at least one or two that you feel you could use to begin your question. So perhaps you want to use to what extent. That's one of our most favorite because it allows for a comparison. But maybe you think it's either to what extent or what factors played maybe a role in something. So pick a couple of question starters that you might could use as you're just deciding to form your question. Then for number 6, I want you to use your responses in questions 3, 4, and 5 to actually write your research question. And there's some helpful hints there, where the best questions don't always make the best extended essays if they can't be researched effectively, so you have to make sure it can be researched. Your question also has to be written to be either proven or disproven. Don't think you have to write it to answer it positively. A lot of students fall into that trap. Maybe it's a popular thought that you would like to dispel or disprove. Remember, the best researchers are not looking for confirmation bias. They are looking to explore and learn about their topic. So you're really just doing some research to begin with to learn about your topic, and then you need to actually question it and figure out the problem and come up with a solution to that. And the last helpful hint is to use your subject guide, and you can find that in Canvas to help find good examples of good questions for your topic. So good luck with this week. Spend a little bit of time doing that and put forth some effort so that next year you can definitely use this maybe to get started on your extended essay. And so I hope you all have a good week. If you get stuck on this, you know what to do. Send me or Ms. Klein an email.